Debriefings.
179. What are debriefings? When are they conducted? What is the COR's role in them?
Debriefings are exchanges of information between the CO and the offeror regarding the offeror's status relative to the proposal evaluation, discussion, and source selection, award, process. Debriefings may be conducted either pre-award or post-award by the CO with assistance from the COR and others, for example, legal counsel, as may be required or requested by the CO. Debriefings must be requested by the offeror and conducted in conformance with FAR requirements, which include the request for a debriefing being submitted in writing and within prescribed time limits. Pre-award debriefings occur when an offeror is notified by the CO that it has been excluded from the competitive range or is no longer eligible for consideration otherwise. For example, the contracting team has found that the offeror was suspended from participating in government contracts due to criminal conduct and had failed to report that information when submitting its offer. If the offeror desires a debriefing, it must be requested in writing within 3 days of receiving notice that it has been excluded from the competitive range. Post-award debriefings occur when an offeror is notified that it did not receive the award. If the offeror desires a debriefing, it must be requested within 3 days after notification of award. The CO will request technical support from the COR both in preparation for and conduct of the actual debriefing. For pre-award debriefings, the CO will present the agency's evaluation of significant elements in the offeror's proposal, that is, the strengths and weaknesses of its proposal that resulted in its not being one of the most highly rated proposals. Provide a summary of the rationale supporting the offeror's elimination from the competitive range, or provide evidence for exclusion otherwise. Provide reasonable responses to relevant questions about whether source selection procedures contained in the solicitation, applicable regulations, and other applicable authorities were followed in eliminating the offeror from the competitive range. For post-award debriefings, the CO will provide the overall evaluated cost and technical rating of the successful offeror and the offeror being debriefed. Provide the offeror being debriefed the overall ranking of all offerors when any ranking was developed by the agency during the source selection. Provide a summary of the rationale for the basis of award. If the acquisition is for commercial items, identify the make and model of the items being provided by the successful offeror. Provide reasonable responses to relevant questions about whether source selection procedures contained in the solicitation, applicable regulations, and other applicable authorities were followed in making the award. Not disclose any information exempt from release under the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, including trade secrets, privileged or confidential manufacturing processes and techniques, commercial and financial information that is privileged or confidential, including cost breakdowns, profit, indirect cost rates, and similar information. The names of individuals providing reference information about an offeror's past performance. Not provide point-by-point comparisons of the debriefed offeror's proposal with those of other offerors.